Hey everybody, welcome to Kitchen Talk with Granna. So glad you guys can come up into the kitchen with me today. But you guys know the routine before we even get started here. You know what you gotta do, okay? Go ahead, down there, look down at the bottom of your screen down there. Everything down there, go ahead and take care of it. Go ahead and get it out the way so we can be done with that, okay? At the end of this episode, you can come back and give me any reviews or any comments that you guys want to throw at me, okay? I appreciate it, okay? All right, thank you so very much. Today I think we're just gonna talk a little bit. I'm not cooking anything or throwing together any quick meals or anything like that. Later, I'll go out and pick up myself and Dad something to eat for dinner tonight, but I'm not doing any of that today, okay? So we're just gonna talk a little bit today, okay? You guys know this is the last week of February, so we're coming up to the end of Black History Month, okay? Just because this is the last week of February and Black History Month will be over, that does not mean that we cannot continue to learn about what we did as African American, okay? Make sure you still, have your kids to do some research, still have them to Google different things, make it a game out of it and, so they can continue to learn about their people, okay? So just continue to do that for me, okay? Even if you just take it to the end of the school year, just throw something at them out there once a week or once every other week and have them to research or have them spend about 10 minutes doing some type of research when it comes to African Americans, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the things that I've read about this week, when it came to African American Black history, okay? And I do have some notes, so if you see me going up and down, then I'm kind of referring back to my notes because I read so much, it's hard for me to keep it straight up in here, okay? All right, so let's get it going, okay? The first person I'm gonna talk to you guys about, his name is Horace King, okay? Horace King was born in 1807 into slavery, and he was the first Black man to become an architect, and he, not only was he the first Black man to become an architect, he was one of the greatest architects there was back in those time, back in the early 1800s, all the way up to the late 1880, 1890, around that time, okay? He was responsible for designing and helping to build some of the most monumental buildings and bridges. He was mostly known for the bridges that he built, all the way, through Alabama, through Georgia, through Mississippi, up and down the coast, up into Washington. He was a part of a lot of the design when it came to the different bridges, okay? And also, he also worked on some of the most momentum building that we have, some of those buildings, the courthouses and different things that we have. Okay, one of the ones he put his hands on and his work into was right here in Alabama. He was a big part, and he designed at the Montgomery Capitol, the staircase they have in there. It's like a 3-story staircase that's inside the Capitol in Montgomery. And from my reading about him, he designed that 3-story staircase. I gotta slow it down, I'm going too fast. He designed that staircase, and it's one of those forward staircase. It's beautiful, I haven't physically been in the building, but I've read about it many times, and I've seen pictures of the Capitol of Montgomery, and the staircase alone is beautiful. And that's something Mr. Horace King put his hands on. That's something that he can be remembered for. So whenever you guys are going through Montgomery, or you're stopping to take in a little bit of the history that Montgomery carries and Montgomery is known for, just maybe go into the Capitol and and take a look at that. Make sure if you go, you take a look at that staircase, because that's something that one of our people put their hands on, and something that they help to design and create, okay? So make sure you do that, okay? So I'm gonna throw that on out there for Mr. Horace King, good job to you. Okay, the next person I wanna talk about is Mr. Albert Cox, okay? Mr. Albert Cox was the first Black man to get his PhD in mathematics, okay? And this was back in 1925, okay? He got that degree from Cornell University. And you guys know how hard it is to get it when it comes to mathematics. So that tells you right there, this was a very bright, intelligent young man, because mathematics is one of the subjects that a lot of us have problems with. I mean, there are some people just born to do math and they can handle that. But this young man was the first black man to get that PhD in mathematics. And he went on to teach for over 40 years. You know, he taught at West Virginia State College for a little while. I think about 4 or 5 years he taught there. And then he went on to teach at some other colleges, but he ended up teaching at Harvard University for the majority of his career. Because I know he taught for like over 40 years, but most of that time was at Harvard University and where he taught at. Like I said, this man was born back in 1895. He lived to be like 74 years old. He was died, I think he passed away back in like 1969. But, you know, he was a very intelligent young man. And the thing about Mr. Cox, he kind of had it laid out for him because his parents was very educated and they spent a lot of time teaching and making sure their kids got their education. His father was a principal at one of the schools, because they went around from school to school and spent a lot of time working for these schools and teaching at these schools. You know, some of the colleges that was being established back then, his parents had a lot to do with those colleges being established, and they both was educators, and they spent a lot of time instilling that into their kids. So, you know, he definitely had that to his advantage, because back then, you know how hard it was for us as African American to get that education, okay? So, you know, my hat's off to him also, Mr. Everett Cox. Everett, not Abbott, but Everett Cox, okay? So the next young lady I want to talk to you guys about, this really caught my interest, and I had to read word for word everything that I could find on her, okay? This young lady, Mary Fields, Miss Mary Fields, was born in 1932 in Tennessee. She was born into slavery and became free at the end of the Civil War, which was around 1865, okay? And at that time, she was in her early 30s, so she had a lot of different jobs that she had, you know, at that time when she became free and everything. So she worked all these different jobs all the way up to like her late 50s, working these jobs. And then probably, like I said, getting into her late 50s, early 60s, she became employed by the United States mail service. So she was the first black woman to be employed to carry mail for the United States Mail, okay? So that was a big deal because, you know, they did not let women carry mail. They didn't even think about a woman carrying the mail back then, let alone a black woman, you know, because of just the harsh stuff that they have to go through, just the environment that they had to go through to deliver this mail. But Miss Mary Fields, she did that. She got employed by the United States Mail to carry mail, and I think it started off like a contract and stuff, but she was the first black woman to do that. Of course, she had to deliver that mail either by horseback or by the stagecoach, and she did hers through the stagecoach. So, you know, during the early 1800s, all the way up to like 1893, she was a mail carrier, you know? And, you know, for me, just reading about her and the history describing Miss Fields was a woman that you was not to mess with, okay? This woman was not the type of person that would take anything from anybody, even back in the 1800s, around, you know, 18 to 1893, 1800s, all the way to 1893. So they describe Miss Fields as a 6 foot tall woman, a short-tempered woman, a two-fist woman. She was a rifle-carrying, shotgun swirling her shotgun around woman. You know, no one would even even step to her in any kind of way. This woman was very intimidating. So she was definitely the right person to have this job, to carry this mail through the stagecoach, because just that alone was a task in itself. That took a lot to do that, you know. But this black woman, you know, she never missed a day's work. She carried that mail, like I said, for all those years. She carried that mail. She never missed her route. She never lost any mail. Nobody never hijacked her stagecoach, you know, or tried to, you know, hijack her when she was delivering that mail. Nobody never even came across her when it was coming to her to deliver that mail, you know. So this woman was able to do this through all the different circumstances that she had to go through to get this mail to where it needed to be to, you know. And then as I read about her, I think about these, I know quite a few people that work for the United States Postal Service, okay? So I thought about, you know, just hearing some of the stories from the people that I know that work at the Postal Service. And I'm like, they're complaining about, you know, maybe a dog run outside the fence and they don't know if they got to spray the dog, and, you know, or somebody parked in front of the mailbox and they don't know if they not getting out and putting their mail in their mailbox, you know, because they don't have to if somebody's parked in front of the mailbox. So I listened to these stories and I was thinking about Miss Mary Fields here. Like, wow, you know, the stuff that she had to go through just to deliver this mail. And here I'm listening to these stories of someone don't want to get out of their vehicle because somebody's parked in front of the mailbox. I don't know if they would have been able to even carry the mail back when she had to carry the mail. That's just crazy what she had to go through, and then compare it to what they complain about today. You know, that's just crazy. But Miss Fields, she did that job. She carried that mail, and she did that job all the way up to she was like 71 years old. Can you imagine? 71, she's still delivering this mail on a stagecoach or on a horseback horse. You know, she wasn't riding around in a car. She's out there in all this climate, out there in this heat and all this weather. And I understand the mail people today have to be outside when it's raining, or they get a little snow here and there, or it may be extremely cold, but that's nothing compared to what she had to go through back in the day to deliver this mail. And this woman did this up until she turned 71 years old. So that was just amazing to me, you know. Like I said, just reading about her character, the type of person that she was. In the research that I was reading on her, it was stated that she was the type of woman that loved some good whiskey. She loved to drink her whiskey. She loved to smoke her cigarettes. She loved to just be who she was, you know, and no one said anything to her. Back in the day, she I guess being involved with delivering the mail with you around, or you come in contact with all different type of people. The Native Americans back then, the Indians back then, they referred to her as White Crow, because, you know, they have all these crazy names. But they said they called her White Crow because even though she was a big woman and she was an intimidating woman, she also carried herself kind of like the white woman carried themselves. So I guess she had enough spunk to know how to turn on her temper and how to turn off her temper. So, you know, that was one of the things that they said about her. And then they also said in the research that the white folks didn't know what to think of her. They didn't know what to do, you know, when they came in contact with her. So this woman was something else, honey. She was getting that mail to where it had to go. She didn't miss no days. She didn't miss no time. She did that till she was 71 years old. And this woman lived to be like 81, 82 years old. She died in like 1914. So just think about that, you know, just like I said, as you go through your day, if you still got time to still do research on African American, please do. Please take a little minute to do that, okay? So thank you guys for spending a few minutes in the kitchen with Granna. I appreciate it. As always, you guys know what you need to do. I'm only asking 3 things of you. Give me a smile. Hey, spread the love. If you come across someone, give them a few minutes. Hey, give a few minutes of your time to listen to whatever they got going on, because you just don't know what type of day they may be having. They may be having a day where they just need someone to listen to them. So give them that minute. Give them those 2 minutes. Let them vent for just a second. Just give them a smile, honey. Spread the love out to them. And just give them a word of encouragement, okay? So thank you guys so very much for having a few minutes for Granna, okay? I appreciate you guys so much, okay? So have a great day. I'll see you guys back in a few. Okay, bye.